Four BBC cricket commentators claim they were forced to pay money to a JMPD officer. Jonathan Agnew, Michael Vaughan, Henry Blofeld and Simon Mann are in South Africa for the Proteas current test series with England, and it's been reported they were threatened with arrest as they didn't have their driver's licenses on them. For more on that, I'm now joined on the line by JMPD spokesperson Wayne Mann. Good afternoon. Thanks for speaking to us here on ENCA. Now, the journalists or the commentators say they were made to pay money to a Metro officer as a fine. Does this constitute a bribe?
Good afternoon. No, definitely. Look, whenever there is exchanging of money between an officer and a civilian, that constitutes bribery and corruption. So it's very disappointing to hear that this has happened. And the internal affairs unit of JMPD needs to be notified so that the formal complaint can be lodged, and that the officer or officers concerned needs to be investigated.
What advice do you have for motorists who may find themselves in a similar situation?
Look, under no circumstances must money be given to an officer on the side of the road. If it does so happen that the person is a foreigner, then a fine can be paid at a police station. That's no issue. But if paying money to an officer on the side of the road, that can never happen. That is definitely bribery and corruption. So the officer concerned needs to be investigated.
Were you able to investigate this matter if the journalist did not report this to the police?
No, you see, unfortunately, there's no lead then, because the investigating officers at the internal affairs need information to work on. Ideally, a statement is required. However, the internal affairs head is going to be informed so that some information can be sourced for the investigation to be done.
Now, if they do report it, what action will you take against the officer concerned if he did indeed extort them?
You see, in this instance, like with all other cases of bribery and corruption, where there is proof, the officer concerned or the corrupt officer will have to appear before disciplinary tribunal, and then where there's proof, be dismissed, because corrupt officers in a Metro Police Department or in the JMPD cannot be tolerated.
Now, have you heard anything from the BBC in this instance?
Not as yet. It's the first that I hear of it, but it's very disappointing to hear that officer had taken money from a foreign journalist. But what we want to have done is to set it straight, and that the corrupt officer needs to appear before disciplinary hearing so that if there's proof, may be dismissed. Are
you concerned about the image of the JMPD? These guys, they were broadcasting this all day on radio.
Yes, it's a concern. It's a concern about the image. However, all of the officers are not corrupt. Where there's an officer who becomes corrupt, or the officer is a corrupt member, then such member must be dealt with so that the officer must be rid of out of the department, so that and we don't need such corrupt officers.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon here on ENCA. That was the JMPD spokesperson Wayne Mann.